Right now, in a quiet room at night, something twitches at the edge of your vision, and your head snaps toward it before you decide to look. Your body has already turned, your heart is already moving, so why does your head whip sideways before your mind knows what moved? You scan the corner where it happened, and there is nothing there. It was a curtain shifting in the draft. It was the light of a car sliding across the ceiling. It was a moth circling the lamp. Nothing wanted to hurt you. Nothing was ever there. You feel a little foolish, and you go back to what you were doing. But for 99.9% of human history, that twitch at the edge of your sight was not nothing. It was the difference between waking up in the morning and never waking up at all. A shape gliding low through tall grass. A predator testing the dark just past the fire. The soft flicker of something alive, moving toward you, in the one part of your vision you were not watching. And here's the strange part. The reflex that just yanked your head toward an empty corner is one of the oldest things you own. It fires faster than fear, faster than thought, faster than the words that describe it. So why does your body react before your mind catches up? The answer is hiding in a part of your eye you have never once thought about. So travel back with me now, out into open country. On a night with no walls and no roof and no lock on any door, there is a man there, crouched close to a fire, and his name is Flint. He is lean barefoot, wrapped in a strip of spotted fur, a wooden spear resting across his knees. The fire throws a small, trembling circle of orange light around him, and that circle is his whole world tonight. Inside it, he can see the stones, his own hands, the embers breathing red and gold. But a few steps past the light, the darkness is total. The grass out there stands taller than a man, and the wind moves through it in long, hissing waves. It bends one way, then shivers back, and every gust makes 100 shapes lean and sway at once. Flint's eyes are almost useless out here for the thing you would think matters most. He cannot make out a face in that grass, or a color, or the sharp edge of a body against the black. In the dark, detail simply does not reach him. And the terrible truth of this night is that the danger will not walk up in front of him where he can study it. A cat, a hyena, anything hunting at the edge of a camp does not charge across the open toward the flames. It circles. It comes low and quiet from the side, through the grass he is not staring at, into the part of the night he is not watching. So the thing that will decide whether Flint sees another sunrise is not what sits clearly ahead of him. It is whatever slides in from the edge, half seen, moving. And to catch that, his eyes had to solve a problem that sounds impossible. They solved it in a way so strange that you are still carrying the solution around inside your own head. Here is the problem Flint's eyes are up against, and it is a brutal one. You cannot watch everywhere at once. No one can. The sharp, detailed part of your sight, the part you're using this very second to read a face or thread a needle, is astonishingly small. It comes from a tiny pit at the center of your retina called the fovea, and the crisp window it gives you is roughly the size of your thumbnail held out at arm's length. That is it. Everything you think you see in perfect focus is squeezed into that one narrow spotlight. Try it right now. Fix your eyes on a single word and without moving them, try to read the words just beside it. You cannot. They dissolve into a soft, colorless smear. So how is Flint supposed to catch a threat he is not even looking at? He turns his head to the left, and that little spotlight lands on a clump of grass, and for that instant the entire right side of the night falls out of focus. He swings back to the right, and now the left is a blur. He is scanning, hunting, sweeping that thumbnail of clarity across the dark like a man searching a huge black room with a candle the size of a coin, and the thing hunting him does not need to be seen clearly. It only needs to wait until his spotlight is pointed the other way. Everything past that pinpoint of sharpness is dim, fuzzy, and drained of color, a wall of gray suggestion where a body could be standing 3 steps away, and Flint would never make it out. That blur sounds like a fatal weakness. It is anything but. To understand why that blur is not a weakness, you have to look at what the back of the eye is actually made of. The retina is lined with tiny light-catching cells, and they come in 2 very different kinds. There are cone cells, which handle sharp detail and color, and there are rod cells, which handle dim light and movement. And the numbers are not even close. The human retina holds on the order of 120 million rods, against only about 6 million cones. That is roughly 20 rods for every single cone. But the way they are arranged is the part that changes everything. Nearly all of those 6 million cones are jammed into the center, packed tightest inside that thumbnail-sized pit at the middle of your sight. That is why the center is so sharp and so full of color. The rods are pushed outward, spread across the whole wide edge of the retina, ringing the periphery, where the cones thin out to almost nothing. So, the outer edge of your vision is not really a color and detail system at all. It is a rod system built for the dark and built for motion. Now put that back around the fire with Flint. When the sun goes down and the color drains out of the world, his central spotlight, the cone-rich center, goes nearly blind. The sharp, colorful machinery he uses in daylight needs bright light to work, and the fire simply is not enough. But the rods do not need bright light. They come alive precisely when everything else goes dark. So all night long, at the trembling edges of his sight, Flint's eyes are quietly running on the rod system, the one tuned for the dark and for anything that moves. The center has given up. The edge is wide awake, and that dim, blurry, colorless edge is not just there so he can see a little in the dark. It is wired to do something far faster and far more urgent than see. Now think about what that rod system actually has to work with out here in the black. In the dark, a hunting animal gives up almost nothing. There is no clear face for Flint to recognize, no color of fur to name, no crisp outline of a body against the night. There is only one clue left, and it is a small one: movement. The grass shifting in a way the wind did not cause. A single patch of darkness that slides while everything around it stays still. The fire is doing its job, holding most of the danger back beyond the light. But the animals that test a camp are patient, and they are clever about it. A hyena, a big cat, anything that has crept up on prey 1,000 times, does not rush the flames. It comes in low, belly close to the earth, moving a hand's width at a time, freezing whenever Flint's head turns its way. And here is the cruel arithmetic of that grass. If Flint waits until he can actually see the shape clearly, until his sharp central spotlight swings over and locks onto it, that decision has already cost him too much time. A cat covers the last few steps in a heartbeat. By the time a clear picture reaches him, the weight is already on his chest, and the teeth are already at his throat, so his body cannot afford to wait for certainty. It cannot afford to gather a sharp, colorful, confident image before it acts. Out here at the ragged edge of the firelight, what keeps Flint alive is not a photograph of the threat. It is a tripwire that trips before he understands anything at all. And that is exactly the trade your eyes made, deep at the edges of your sight. And it is the part almost nobody ever tells you. So here is what almost nobody ever tells you. That blurry, nearly colorless edge of your sight is not a broken second-rate copy of the sharp center. It is blurry on purpose. It gave up detail, and it gave up color, in exchange for the one thing that could save Flint's life out there in the dark: speed. The outer edge of the retina is not built to tell you what a thing is. It is built to scream, as fast as it possibly can, that a thing is moved. When something slides across that periphery, the signal does not wait to be understood. It races inward and lights up the alarm centers of the brain in roughly 1/5 of a second. That is faster than you can say a single word. It is faster than the part of your mind that names things, faster than the part that feels afraid. The alarm fires before you consciously know that anything happened at all. So watch Flint now, in the worst moment of his night. A patch of the grass off to his left slides against the wind, low and wrong. He is not looking at it. His eyes are somewhere else entirely, and his head whips toward that grass before a single thought forms behind it. His spear is already lifting. His whole body has already turned to face the thing before his mind has any idea what the thing is. That is the trade your eyes made. The center of your sight is a slow, careful photographer, gathering a beautiful, detailed picture and taking its time. The edge is a tripwire, strung across the dark, that trips the instant anything touches it. It is low resolution on purpose, because a low-resolution alarm that fires in 1/5 of a second beats a perfect picture that arrives one heartbeat too late. And that is the true order of what happens inside you. The flinch comes first, the turning of the head, the jump of the heart, the spear coming up. The understanding comes limping in afterward, always a step behind, always trying to catch up to a body that already moved. You do not decide to look. The edge of your eye decides for you. And that ancient tripwire strung for a shape in the grass 300,000 years ago was never switched off. It is still there, still armed, still firing, in you tonight. So come back now, out of that ancient night, and into your quiet room. the curtain that shifted in the draft, the headlight that slid across your ceiling, the moth turning slow circles around your lamp. When any of them crossed the edge of your sight tonight, your head snapped toward it exactly the way flints snap toward the grass. The same wiring, the same tripwire strung across the dark, the same fifth of a second, firing before you had any say in the matter. You were never jumpy, and you were never paranoid. You were running a motion alarm that is older than every city, every road, every wall that has ever made you feel safe. That reflex does not know the difference between a moth and a hunting cat, because it was built long before there were moths by lamps to worry about. It only knows one rule: something moved where you were not looking, so turn and turn now. The little flush of embarrassment you feel afterward, the foolish feeling as you realize it was nothing, is the price of a system that would rather be wrong 1,000 times than be right too late even once. It is not a flaw in you, it is an inheritance, handed down from everyone who turned in time. But turning in time was only ever the first half of surviving that night. Because that tripwire, as ancient and fast as it is, could only ever do one thing. It could turn Flint's head toward the grass in time. It could put the spear in his hands and the fire at his back before the shape ever reached him. But seeing the danger was only the first problem he faced that night, and it was the easy one. Sometimes the cat is faster than the flinch. Sometimes the claw lands anyway, and the tooth finds skin, and Flint is left bleeding beside a dying fire with no bandage, no stitches, and no one coming to help. And that opens a question even stranger than the one you started with. Turning in time kept him alive for one more heartbeat. But how did a wounded man, torn open in open country, live long enough to ever turn again? That's the mystery waiting for you right now, on your screen, how ancient humans survived wounds that should have killed them, with no medicine, no doctors, and nothing but the land itself. Subscribe to Before History, and keep uncovering the world you came from.